I was at Starbucks a few evenings ago, and during this time I actually had about maybe an hour to spare, so I know all the people there, and I always chat everyone up, and I decided that I was going to sit there and do a little work on my laptop and just hang out. And when prior to that, I went and ordered my drink, and the person behind the counter, they said, so I usually order stevia. They said, "What, can I interest you in some brown sugar instead?" And I said, "No, I don't do sugar. It doesn't help my girlish figure." And I made some joke, and they laughed. And the I go and I get my drink and I sit down, and as I'm doing my work, that same barista comes up and gives me like a free cranberry dessert thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't, this is gonna like kill me with how much sugar is in this. And because I rarely eat any sugar except for on my cheat days. And I let them know that. And like they purposely for free came over, said, "This is on the house." And I'm like, oh man, you kidding me? And I started making like a big deal out of it. And the reason why I actually said, so why did you give this to me? And they said, well, because we all love you here. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet, that's awesome. And so, and everyone else who was working said the same thing. And the point of this is that the most valuable asset that you have, and this is the first time I ever heard of this. I actually started listening to a couple different YouTubers, and I didn't realize that people called it this, but the most valuable asset that you have is what's called your mouthpiece, or what's called a mouthpiece. Meaning, do you have the charm and the charisma to get people to like you and to get people I shouldn't say that. Are you able to give people a good time just with your presence? Are you able to vibe and make people feel comfortable? Are you able to make people feel happy, excited, in suspense? And are you able to do that wherever you go, and to think on your feet and just be able to give an experience to people wherever you go? That is one of the least talked about things when it comes to, especially in like the manosphere. You know, there are a lot of really just grumpy, jaded, crappy dudes out there who, you know, teach people how to improve their relationships and so on, and they suck. They, don't get me wrong, they do give decent advice, but I never realized that up until the last year and a half, that if you can invest in how you give people that experience of you, that they can choose to either love it or hate it. They can choose to either enjoy it and ride the ride, or they can choose to get off and have nothing to do with it. And do it in a way where the majority of people see the value in talking with you, the value in being with you, the value in spending time with you. If you're able to do that, it will take you so far in life, because that affects sales, that affects marketing, that affects advertising, that affects relationships, both professional and personal and romantic. It affects your confidence. It affects your well-being. It affects your stress level. It has all of these different aspects to it that by simply honing in your ability to non-verbally communicate things in person, to have the confidence to that when you are in front of somebody, you are going to be comfortable, they are going to be comfortable, and that if the vibe is off, you can know that the vibe is off and move away. If the vibe is on, you know that the vibe is on, and you can move, do whatever it is that you want to communicate. The more you're able to do that, the more you're able to read nonverbal communications, to feel the energy of the room, to feel the energy of the person, to almost telepathically know what they're thinking and feeling. The more you're going to be able to do that in situations that lead to a vast amount of wealth.
Now turn right.
Your employer is no different than you. You're both human beings. You live in different worlds. You have different likes and dislikes, but they're no different. They have loves, they have hates, they have fears, they have comforts, they have all these different things that you have. When you can articulate and give them a pleasurable experience, or an experience where they feel taken care of or joyful, the moment you're able to do that, that's the moment you're able to reach deep into their soul and into their heart. And the more value you give there, the more value you're going to receive. The more you're able to give them those good feelings, those good things, the more you're going to receive in other ways. It might be with money, it might be with networking, it might be with, it might be something that they don't necessarily give you, where, like, for example, like the ability to, if you make a mistake with, I've made mistakes with people's names. I've made a mistake today. I introduced my friend Rob to somebody that I thought was their name, but it actually was somebody else that looked like that person, like almost exactly like that person. And I'm like, oh crap. I literally made it into like something funny and fun. I'm like, that's crazy. So like, you guys have no relation whatsoever, and you guys are just friends, but everyone says that you look alike. And I made it into this like fun, energetic thing. That is a reward for going out and looking like a dumbass for quite often. I can't tell you how many times I've said something or done something where I totally crashed and burned, and where I felt like I couldn't even show my face in certain places because I was so embarrassed. Those don't really happen anymore because I've already felt what that felt like. I've already worked through things like that. The more you're able to do that, the more rewards you're going to get back in the ability to think on your feet and not let that be a big deal. And people can feel your energy behind it and know that it really is not too scary of a thing, or it's not too awkward. You will learn very quickly by putting all of this into practice, by allowing yourself to be in situations where you can show off who you are. You're going to get better and better and better at that, and it's going to lead to more and more and more opportunities that you're not going to be able to ignore. So, all right. I'm going to go. I need to eat and go get a coffee, and I'll see you later.